In this video, I'll look at rearranging formula that include brackets. Now, before looking at those formulas involving rearranging the equations, I want first of all to start with the left-hand side, which involves solving equations. Now, once you've finished solving the questions on the left, we'll use the same processes to work out the questions on the right. So let me start with question example 1a on the left. Now 5 is multiplied by 7, and the opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. So we can start by dividing by 5 on each side, which means that x will be equal to 7 over 5. Okay, how can we use this process to rearrange this formula so that x is the subject? Now, one thing that you need to notice is that a plus b is a factor. Okay, so a plus b here is a factor that has been multiplied by a. Okay, so this is a factor that has been multiplied by a. Now the opposite of multiplying by a plus b is dividing by a plus b. So basically what you're going to do here is to divide by a plus b. Divide by a plus b on the left and divide by a plus b on the right. So what we shall end up with is, by the way, a plus b divided by a plus b is 1. Just like here, 5 divided by 5 is 1. That's why we ended up with x. So x will be equal to m over a plus b. All right, and you can see the similarities between these two processes. So we'll use the same method to work out the next questions. On the left, we want to make x the subject of the formula. There are two ways on how you can do this. The first method is basically dividing by 3. Okay, because 3 is multiplied by x plus b. So we can start by dividing by 3 on the left and dividing by 3 on the right. This is one way of doing it. There are other ways of doing it. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. So what you shall end up with is x plus 4 is equals to 11 over 3. And then the next step will be getting rid of the 4, because the opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4. So subtract 4 from each side. So what you shall end up with is x is equal to 11 over 3 minus 4. Why? Because 4 minus 4 is 0. Okay, so x will be equal to 11 minus 3 over 4, which will be equal to negative a third. Okay, we can use the same process to work out what we have on the right. The first step will be getting rid of this a, so that you're left with x plus b. Then it will be easier for us to deal with that. So divide by a on the left, divide by a on the right. So what we shall end up with is, and by the way, a divided by a will be equal to 1. So x plus b will be equal to m over a. And then the next step will be subtracting b from each side, because the opposite of adding b is subtracting b. So x will be equal to m over a minus b, because b minus b is 0. Okay, example 2, we shall use the same process. The first step will be dividing by 4 because 4 is multiplied by 2x minus 5. So we need to get rid of the 4. So divide by 4 on each side. And you shall end up with 4 divided by 4. That will be equal to 1. So 2x minus 5 is equals to 5 over 4. And then the opposite of subtracting 5 is adding 5. So we add 5 on each side. and 5 minus 5 is equal to 0. So we are left with 2x is equals to 5 over 4 plus 5. Okay, so and then what we need to do is divide by 2 on each side. So divide by 2 here, divide by 2 there, and 2 divided by 2, that will be equal to 1. So basically what we shall end up with is x will be equal to 25 over 4 divided by 2, which is 25 over 4 multiplied by a half, and therefore x will be equal to 25 over 8. Okay, so we can apply the same process to work out, to rearrange the formula on the right hand side. So the first step will be dividing by a. So divide by a here, divide by a there, and we know that a divided by a, that will be equal to 1. So basically we are left with gx minus b is equals to m over a, and then the opposite of subtracting b is adding b, so we add b on each side. So negative b plus b, that will be equal to 0. So basically we are left with gx is equals to m over a plus b, and then the opposite of multiplying by g is dividing by g, so we divide by g on each side, which means our solution here will be, we know that g divided by g is 1, so that's gone. So x will be equal to m over a plus b over g.